folks, welcome back to Gardening in Nakusp with Ray. So here we have a change of scene in the grow room now. All the early stuff is out into the greenhouse and we have a next batch of stuff. So here we have, I like to grow giant zinnias. These are Benary's giant zinnias and they're hard to find in the nurseries. So I do a lot of my own production and they're a tall zinnia, beautiful full flower, full range of colors. The flower lasts a long time. They're just a great cut flower and a great annual in the garden. And I also have here, these are Esclepius, the butterfly weed. And these are, actually able to spread it back in there where the light is. I collected some seeds from my plants last fall. And it's really good to look up the plant that you're starting. Like this Esclepius, I looked it up and it needed a cold chilling for the seeds. So I stuck them in the fridge for 6 weeks. Brought them out, potted them up, and sure enough, they just took off like crazy. They did really well. I'm a little bit behind on my seeding. I would have liked to seed my basil and fennel and arugula, but I haven't got to it yet, but I've got the flat ready, so I'm hoping maybe with the next couple of days I can get that seeded. I want to have some stuff ready for when I take the spinach out of the cold frame. I want to have the next batch of stuff ready to plant right in there to carry on with the production through the season. So that's it for the grow room for now, and we'll head outside. Thanks. So now we're starting to do some production outside, and peas is a really good one because they're a kind of cool season crop, and we'll be planting them now, and it'll take a while to come up, so even a little bit of frost now won't bother them. So you can see I dug through here really carefully because these roots from the hedge come into here. So I dug with a spade and loosened it all up nicely, put in some compost and some Gaia Green fertilizer. Put my trench in and put the peas down in the bottom of the trench, and then I'll just top it up with the soil. And I like to leave a little bit of a swale in here, a little ridge, so that I can water them by hand. I don't want to be bringing out the sprinkler right now, and I can just water them with a little bucket. And while we're here, maybe we'll just take a little look at the spinach. So it's doing well. And probably within the next, we'll see how the weather goes, but I might be able to take these frames away and then I won't have to bother covering them up anymore. So now I was also thinking about bringing my brassicas out. So I put them out on Saturday. Unfortunately, we had quite a bit of a frost yesterday, so some of them got ruined, but this morning when I got up early, before the sun hit them, I put some water on them, and if you can get the water on them before the sun hits them, that you can stop a lot of the damage. But the cauliflowers, unfortunately, weren't that happy with it. The other plants are doing okay, so we'll take a look over there, over the other part of the garden. So now we're out in the garden. When I first started gardening with my parents, everything was done by rows. So you had a row and then a path and a row and a path. And then later on, I read about the bed method, and I really liked that idea. I thought it was a great idea. So that's what I have here. Now I don't have them boxed off, and I just, you can see over here, I take the area and I put in 2 layers of compost, 2 wheelbarrows of compost, and turn that into the soil. And then I do a pattern planting of 2, these are, here are cabbages. So they'll get quite large. So I do a planting of 2, and then 1, and then 2, and 1, and then 2, and then 1 will go here. And what I do also is to keep the work down and to keep the soil moist, so I put some leaves down, and then I put some straw on top of it. The straw is so expensive now and hard to get, so I use a lot of leaves. So when I collect my leaves, I separate the small leaves from the big leaves. The big leaves I use in the compost or in the pathway over yonder. But the small leaves are nice for around the plants, and then I put just a little bit of straw on top that holds them in place. They don't blow around so much. Now, if you got a slug problem, that might not work so well. So I, not every morning, but quite often in the mornings, I go around and check my plants, and if I see any damage on them with the holes, then I check for slugs. But so far, it hasn't been a bad problem. So I like this method. It rots down, builds the soil up, it keeps the annual weeds out, and it keeps the soil moist in there. So it's a really nice feature to mulch. Now, the Gaia Green, what I first do is, when I start the bed, I throw the Gaia Green fertilizer down, and then I put my compost on top of that, and I turn that into the soil. So the Gaia Green is an organic fertilizer, and you need to have the organisms in the soil work on the elements, the minerals in there, to make it suitable for plants. A lot of it doesn't translocate down, like some granular fertilizers, chemical fertilizers, you can put on top, and when it rains it'll wash down, but the organic fertilizer isn't like that. So you want to put it on first, put your fertilizer, your manure, your compost on top of that, and then turn it into the soil. So this is bloodroot, and I think it's Sanguinium canadensis. I believe that's the Latin name for it. And these are beautiful little woodland flower. I think they're native back east. They grow in the maple forest there where you can get the light, because the leaves aren't on, you get the light on these guys in the spring, and then later on they get shaded out. And they're just a wonderful little woodland flower, and they just spread quite rapidly, but they don't last very long. They're very quick, but I enjoy them when they're around. And over here we have primroses. So there's lots of varieties of primroses. These are the drumstick primrose, and that's Primula denticulata. And dent is just tooth. So if you look close on these leaves here, there's little tooths, and they're just a great little primrose. And these, I believe, are the oxlips or cowslips. Somebody from England could correct me on that. But they're a great primrose because they spread around, and I like stuff like that. I have them in the client's garden in Silverton, and we just started out with a few, and now they're all over the place, even naturalizing in the lawn. So I brought a couple here. So the trick with these guys is not to deadhead them, leave the seeds on, and then they can spread. So I'm looking forward to having them spread. Since we have the narcissus fly here and our daffodils don't do very well, it's nice to have these tough primroses that don't have any bugs bothering them, and they'll just give us a nice yellow color and spread around in the gardens. Thanks. So here's another beautiful spring flower. This is an anemone Nemerosa, the woodland anemone. So people from Germany they love this flower because it grows wild in Germany apparently. And again, it's another quick spreader. You just need a little clump of it, and then you've got a nice little patch. And here's another primrose too. This is a double primrose. I don't know the variety name. I just collect little primroses because they're so wonderful and give us our spring color without much care. Over here, we have Pulmonaria, and commonly called boy-girl plant because of the blue-pink flowers, or soldier sailor plant. And again, another wonderful spring flower. So if you have a few of these perennials in your garden, you'll have great color, all through the early spring. Thanks. So great color in the spring is the spring heathers, the varieties of Erica. And just a reminder, folks, if you liked what you saw, you can like, you can subscribe, or you can ring the bell for notification. Thanks a lot.